Okay, hey everybody. So hopefully my camera will actually stay on my helmet this time, and I don't end up having to go sprinting up the road and darting in between cars to try and retrieve it. I think what makes it even worse about that whole thing was the camera wasn't even mine, it was my housemate's, because the back plate on my one's broken, so I borrowed his whilst I'm waiting for a new one of my new back plates to turn up for mine. Anyway, as you might be able to tell, I'm on a bit of a group ride out today. I thought I'd hop on board with a Greasy spoon run for the Bournemouth and Poole Bikers club, group, Facebook page, whatever. And it does seem to be quite a busy one, so I think this is actually the biggest ride out I've ever done. There's got to be somewhere between 60 and 100 people. Well, I suppose a good topic for today would be group riding. Now, as I mentioned, this is the biggest group I've ever ridden in, because there's a hell of a lot of bikes, but in some respects it does seem that bigger groups are, like huge groups, are a bit better, because you end up splitting up and forming small groups within the big overriding group. I think the real trick for group riding is just ride like you're on your own. Forget that you're in a group and just ride like you're on your own. If you're in a small group, that's not quite so easy, because you want to keep up with everyone else and you don't want to be holding anyone up, and you end up taking more risk and riding a bit more recklessly, potentially. It does also obviously depend on what group you're with and the style of riders that everyone is. However, in a huge group, there's going to be every style of rider that you can possibly imagine. So when you form your splinter groups from the huge group, you can find where you fit. You end up with riding with a group of people that match your riding style, and you don't really have to worry. The only issue I've sort of found with group riding is the unpredictability of it, because when you're all on bikes, you take up a lot less road space, so you're more likely to start riding 2 or 3 abreast, or overtaking each other, whatever. So you've got to be so much more vigilant than normal, because anyone else, even if you're not in a group, if you end up sort of slotted into one whilst you're riding on your own, people are just going to assume you're in a group and you know what they're doing. So you've got to be really careful with it and really aware of what everyone else is going to do. Yeah, I know you've got to do that anyway whilst riding a bike, and driving in general, you've got to be constantly aware of everything else going on the road. But I do think it is even more so when you're as part of a group ride, or I suppose a group drive, having done quite a few of them before as well. So take these two guys up ahead. Now this is a perfect example of the whole splitting off into groups with riders that sort of match your style. Now these two guys, they're not overly cautious, but they're not overly aggressive either, and they pretty much fit how I'm riding, how I normally ride. So I don't know them at all, but I've just ended up riding with them. They're part of the same group, they're heading in the same direction, and our riding styles seem to marry up quite nicely. But yeah, they're not hanging around, they're not taking the piss either. So that is exactly what I'm getting at when I'm saying about you fall into groups of your riding style and riding ability when you're in a larger group ride. I think it's great, but personally I prefer riding in a group of 3. That's the optimum for me, 3 people in a group. Whether that's because both my housemates ride and brother-in-law rides, and generally end up between the 4 of us there being 3 at a time. So that may be it. Most of my experience of riding with mates has always been 2 or 3 of us. But 3 is completely manageable. I did a ride out, I think last weekend, and there was 10 of us, and that was a little bit pushing it. That was definitely pushing it a little bit, because there were too few to be able to splinter off into the various groups that you wanted, but enough sports bikes that everyone was showing off. And then if you don't know the way you're going, you've got to try and keep up. That's something else with riding in a group. Always remember to offset. Because if you're riding straight behind, the amount of distance I've got is me to that motorbike. If I'm riding offset from him, the amount of distance I've got is me to the car. Potentially. Just gives you that a little bit extra for escaping if anything does go horribly wrong. Well, I guess that's Bournemouth and Poole Bikers Greasy Spoon trip number 1. Done. That was good fun. And nice bacon butty as well, which is what biking's all about, isn't it? I don't know what it is, but for some reason biking and bacon butties go together hand in hand. Oh, this is such a perfect day for a ride. I mean, does it get better than this? Oh, okay, yeah, fine, bit overcast. And I've got to stop going on about the weather in my videos. Anyway, bit overcast, but screw it. It's not too cold, not too hot. Just sunny enough and so much fun. And riding back from the CAF, I just seem to be ending up in loads of groups of bikes. There's bikers absolutely everywhere today, and it's brilliant. It's so nice seeing everyone out and about. Well, that was one of the disturbing things about the Greasy Spoon CAF we'd just been to. Went into the toilets in a non-dodgy way. I needed a dump, so went into one of the stalls and yeah, just had a look. Well, went to sit down. There's a fucking massive glory hole in the side of the stall. Now, I don't know if I've been sheltered or whatever, but I'd never actually been into a public loos with a glory hole in before. Slightly disconcerting. And it had no toilet seat. Yeah. Weird. Anyway, on that delightful note, unless anything more interesting happens on the rest of the ride home, which probably won't, I hope it doesn't, I will call that a day. But thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, if you like the video, like, comment, subscribe and all that shit. And yeah, catch you next time. Later. Bye.